Your discipline isn't respected, it's being studied. Every pattern you repeat, every routine you flaunt, becomes ammunition for those who watch, wait, and calculate your fall. Chapter 1, The Lie You Call Discipline. You wake at 5 a.m. You complete the cold shower. You check the boxes, the gym, the journal, the reading. You believe this makes you disciplined. You believe this separates you from the herd. It doesn't. What you call discipline is decoration. A costume worn by a man who still flinches when the world pushes back. You've built a routine, not a fortress. And those who understand power can see straight through it. They watch you perform your morning rituals with the same amusement a wolf feels watching a sheep sharpen its own teeth on grass. Here is what no one has told you. Discipline that others can observe, predict, and map is not power. It is a leash you've placed around your own throat while believing it's a crown. Every time you announce your habits, share your streaks, or display your grind, you hand your enemies a blueprint. You teach them your patterns. You reveal the architecture of your willpower, and every architecture has load-bearing walls that can be struck. True discipline, the kind that makes rooms fall silent when you enter, the kind that makes lesser men avoid your gaze, is invisible. It operates beneath language. It does not seek witnesses. It does not require the validation of completion or the applause of consistency. It exists as an undercurrent of cold, permanent intent that others feel but cannot name. You have been sold a merchant's version of discipline. A product. A self-improvement commodity designed to make you feel progress while keeping you domesticated. The books, the apps, the tracking systems, they are pacifiers. They give you the sensation of power without its substance. A man counting days on a streak is a man who can be broken on day 47. A man who requires measurement is a man whose strength has terms and conditions. The ancients understood what you do not. Discipline is not behavior. It is identity. A Spartan did not practice discipline. He was disciplined. The distinction is everything. When discipline is something you do, it can be undone. When discipline is something you are, it becomes as inseparable from you as your skeleton. You do not remove your spine at night. You do not take weekends off from your nervous system. This is the level at which discipline must be installed, not as habit but as biological fact. And here is the fracture in your foundation. You still negotiate with yourself. Every morning there is a conversation, a weighing of options, a measuring of motivation. This negotiation is the evidence of your weakness. The moment you deliberate, you have already lost. The man who must convince himself is a man divided, and a divided man radiates uncertainty. Others smell it. Predators, manipulators, competitors, they detect the hesitation beneath your performance. They know your discipline is a mask, not a face. What you must understand before anything else in this transmission is that the discipline they fear is non-negotiable. It does not start when conditions are right. It does not pause for emotion. It is not a choice made each day, it is the absence of choice. The elimination of the internal debate. The silencing of the lesser self who still believes comfort is an option. You have been operating as a man who has discipline. You must become a man who is disciplined. This is not a semantic game. It is the difference between a man who carries a weapon and a man who is the weapon. One can be disarmed. The other cannot. Your current rituals are training wheels. Your current streaks are children's games. And until you understand this fully, until you feel the shame of how small your discipline has actually been, you cannot begin the real work. The real work is not addition. It is replacement. Chapter 2. The mechanism of psychological terror. Fear is not given. It is engineered. You have met men who commanded rooms without raising their voice. Men whose presence created a cold pressure in your chest before they spoke a single word. You have also met men who performed all the signals of strength, the posture, the eye contact, the gym-built frame, and yet triggered nothing. No tension. No alertness. No primal recognition of threat. The difference is not superficial. It is architectural. The human nervous system is an ancient surveillance machine. It evolved not to admire discipline, but to detect danger. Every brain in every room you enter is running a continuous, unconscious threat assessment. It scans for specific signals, signals you have never been taught to broadcast. And here is the mechanism you must understand. The brain does not fear what it can predict. It fears what it cannot. This is the first fracture in your current model. You have built discipline around consistency, around predictability, around the comforting rhythm of repeated behavior. But predictability is the language of safety. When others can map your patterns, chart your reactions, and forecast your limits, their nervous systems categorize you as known. Known means manageable. Manageable means ignorable. You become furniture. The men who generate fear operate on a different frequency. Their discipline contains a visible edge of the unpredictable. Not chaos. Chaos signals weakness, instability, lack of control. But contained unpredictability. The sense that beneath the calm surface, calculations are running that others cannot access. The feeling that this man operates by rules you do not understand, and that those rules may not favor your survival. This is the threat of the unknown made flesh. Your body already understands this mechanism even if your mind resists it. Consider why the silent man unnerves you more than the loud one. The loud man has externalized himself. He has shown you his edges, his triggers, his emotional inventory. You know where he breaks, but the silent man has shown you nothing. His interior remains unmapped territory. Your nervous system cannot build a model, so it defaults to alertness, vigilance, the low hum of fear. Discipline, when forged correctly, creates this effect. Not through silence alone, but through the elimination of leakage. Leakage is every unnecessary expression. The reactive laugh, the eager nod, the compulsive need to fill silence, the visible frustration, the eyes that seek approval. These are pressure valves. They release internal states outward. And every release is information. Every release tells observers what moves you, what bothers you, what you crave. The disciplined man seals these valves. He becomes opaque. His face does not telegraph his calculations. His body does not betray his tensions. He operates with what the ancients called gravitas, a weight that comes from withholding, not displaying. This opacity is experienced by others as threat, because the primitive brain cannot distinguish between, I don't know what he's thinking, and I don't know what he's capable of. There is a second mechanism, the visible capacity for violence that remains sheathed. Not aggression. Aggression is desperation made visible. But the unmistakable sense that this man could act decisively, brutally, without hesitation, and has simply chosen not to. This is communicated through economy. Economy of movement. Economy of speech. Economy of reaction. Nothing wasted. Nothing performed. Every gesture carrying the implication of reserved force. You have been leaking your entire life. Every nervous joke, every over-explanation, every eager attempt to connect. Each one drained the pressure that could have been experienced as power. You emptied yourself in public and wondered why no one felt your presence. The mechanism is clear. Fear is generated by the unknown, the unpredictable, and the contained. Your task is to become all three, not through performance but through the systematic elimination of everything that makes you readable. Opacity is not emptiness. It is architecture. Chapter 3, Three Species. Performer, Machine, Sovereign. Not all discipline is equal. Not all disciplined men are the same species. You have assumed that consistency creates a single category. That the man who wakes early, trains hard, and works in silence belongs to the same tribe as every other man doing the same. This is a fatal misunderstanding. Beneath identical behaviors exist entirely different psychological architectures. And those architectures determine whether your discipline commands fear, generates pity, or simply goes unnoticed. There are three species. You belong to one of them. And two of them are traps. The performer. The performer disciplines himself for the witness. His rituals require an audience, visible or imagined. He posts the 5 a.m. screenshot. He mentions the cold shower casually in conversation. He finds ways to signal his grind, his sacrifice, his separation from lesser men. His discipline exists in relationship to perception. Strip away the observers and the performer begins to decay. His motivation was never internal. It was transactional, effort exchanged for recognition, status, admiration. When the recognition fades, when the likes slow, when no one asks about his routine anymore, his engine stalls. He requires fresh eyes to fuel the machine. The performer is the most common species. Social media has industrialized his production. He mistakes visibility for power and attention for respect. But those who understand dominance see through him instantly. His need for validation marks him as controllable. Offer him praise and he becomes your instrument. Withdraw it and he spirals. He has handed the remote control of his psychology to any observer willing to press the buttons. The machine. The machine is more dangerous than the performer, but ultimately still breakable. He does not require witnesses. He operates on willpower, grinding through resistance each day with brute force. Where the performer negotiates for applause, the machine negotiates against himself. Every morning is a battle. Every session is one against internal opposition. He is proud of this war. He believes the struggle is the proof of his strength. It is actually the proof of his fragmentation. The machine still contains a self that resists. A part that must be defeated, suppressed, overridden. This means his discipline is a perpetual civil war, and civil wars drain resources. They require constant energy to maintain the occupation. The machine can sustain this for months, sometimes years. But the resistance never dies. It waits. And when crisis arrives, when external pressure compounds the internal battle, the machine breaks, catastrophically. The burnout, the collapse, the sudden abandonment of everything he built. You have seen this in others. Perhaps you have lived it yourself. The machine's flaw is that he believes discipline is war. It is not. War implies two sides. True discipline has no opposition because there is no second self to oppose it. The sovereign. The sovereign operates on a different plane entirely. He does not perform discipline. He does not fight for discipline. He has become discipline. The distinction is elimination, not victory. There is no internal negotiation because the negotiating party has been dissolved. No second self exists to resist, to question, to require motivation. The sovereign wakes and acts because that is what he is. Not what he does, what he is. His identity and his discipline have merged into a single, undivided structure. He does not experience the resistance the machine feels, because resistance requires a self that prefers otherwise. That self is gone. This is why the sovereign radiates something the others do not. The performer radiates need. The machine radiates tension. The sovereign radiates absence. The absence of internal conflict, the absence of doubt, the absence of the negotiating human weakness that others unconsciously scan for. This absence registers as threat, because a man with no internal opposition cannot be manipulated through his fractures. He has none. You know which species you are. You feel it as you read these words. The recognition is uncomfortable because it is precise. The question is not which species you prefer. The question is whether you will remain what you are, or burn it down completely. Chapter 4, What the Ancients Knew About Feared Men. History does not remember the comfortable. You have read about Spartans, Stoics, samurai. You have consumed their philosophies through modern translations. Softened, sanitized, packaged for men who still sleep on mattresses and eat on schedules. You have extracted quotes for your journal. Principles for your morning routine. You have taken the surface and believed you touched the depth. You touched nothing. The ancients did not theorize discipline. They installed it through systematic destruction. What you call discipline, they would call the untested fantasies of a child who has never bled for his becoming. Consider Sparta. At age 7, boys were removed from their mothers. Not sent to school, removed from humanity itself. They entered the agoge, a 13-year machine designed to annihilate the individual and manufacture weapons. They were starved intentionally. Not to build appetite control, to teach that hunger is irrelevant. They were beaten by older boys. Not to build resilience, to eliminate the expectation of safety. They slept on reeds they cut themselves. They owned nothing. They were forbidden comfort because comfort creates dependency, and dependency creates weakness, and weakness creates dead Spartans. The boy who entered did not graduate. He was erased. What emerged was not an improved version. It was a replacement. A manufactured human with different operating principles than the child who was taken. This is identity annihilation. It is not self-improvement. The modern mind cannot grasp the distinction because the modern mind still clings to continuity. You want to become better while remaining yourself. The ancients understood this as impossibility. The self that needs discipline is the self that must be eliminated. You cannot improve rot. You burn it. The samurai institutionalized this through different architecture. The Bushido code was not philosophy, it was deletion software. The samurai was trained to consider himself already dead. Not metaphorically, literally. He conducted his life as a dead man walking, because only the dead are free from the hesitations of self-preservation. Fear of death creates pause. Pause creates defeat. Therefore, death must occur before battle, psychologically, completely. This is why the samurai meditated on death each morning. Not to accept mortality as a concept, to experience his own execution before breakfast, to feel the blade, to see his severed head, to make the body understand that its survival was already forfeited. From this psychological ground zero, he could act without the friction of fear. Your morning journaling is not this. Your cold shower is not this. You are playing in the shallows and believing you swim in the deep. The Stoics operated on similar deletions. Marcus Aurelius did not practice gratitude as modern interpreters suggest. He practiced premeditatio malorum, the deliberate visualization of catastrophe, the death of his children, the loss of his empire, his own decay and irrelevance. This was not pessimism. It was amputation. He severed his psychological attachment to outcomes before they occurred, so that when loss arrived, it found nothing to grip. Roman legions applied this collectively. Decimation, the execution of every 10th soldier in a unit that showed cowardice, was not mere punishment. It was psychological engineering. The soldier understood that his failure implicated his brothers in death. His weakness would kill men he loved. This external binding made discipline non-negotiable. Failure became unthinkable because its price extended beyond the self. You operate without such bindings. Your failure costs you nothing but disappointment. Your weakness harms no one but yourself. And so your discipline remains optional, a preference, not a law. The ancients bound discipline to annihilation, to identity death, to consequences so severe that compliance was the only survivable path. You have bound discipline to feeling good. This is why they built civilizations that echoed through millennia, and why you cannot maintain a routine past February. Chapter 5, The 7 Cold Protocols. Strategy without installation is entertainment. You have consumed enough philosophy, enough history, enough understanding. Your mind is fat with concepts it has never metabolized into action. This chapter is not more understanding. It is architecture. 7 protocols that do not request your compliance. They demand your reconstruction. These are not habits. Habits are behaviors repeated until automatic. These are protocols, psychological installations that alter your operating system at the identity level. The distinction matters. A habit can be broken because it remains separate from self. A protocol cannot be broken because it becomes self. You will resist these. That resistance is the part of you that must die. Protocol 1. The elimination of announcement. From this moment, you tell no one what you are building. No social posts about progress. No casual mentions of your discipline. No seeking of accountability partners. Your work becomes invisible. This protocol attacks your addiction to external validation. The performer within you will scream. He survives on witnesses. By cutting his supply, you begin his starvation. What remains after his death is discipline that requires no audience. Discipline that exists for its own sake, operating in darkness, accumulating power no one can see. Silence is not modesty. It is strategy. What others do not know, they cannot counter. What others do not see, they cannot undermine. You become unmappable. Protocol 2. The deletion of negotiation. You will establish 3 non-negotiable actions per day. Not goals, actions. Specific, measurable, completable. When the designated time arrives, you execute. No internal discussion. No assessment of motivation or energy. The alarm sounds, the body moves. Discussion is treason. This protocol attacks your habit of self-negotiation. Every internal debate weakens the architecture. The machine fights himself daily because he still permits the debate to occur. You will not debate. Debate is eliminated by refusing its premise, that alternatives exist. They do not. The protocol fires, you comply. No complexity. Within weeks, the negotiating voice begins to atrophy. It speaks less because it is never heard. Eventually, silence. Protocol 3. The discipline of opacity. You will practice deliberate non-reaction. When provoked, pause. When praised, pause. When questioned, pause. Let 3 seconds pass before any external response. In those seconds, observe your impulse to leak, to laugh, to deflect, to explain, to react. Then choose what you release. Consciously. Strategically. This protocol attacks your emotional leakage. Every reaction you display is information transmitted. Opacity is the retrieval of that information, the refusal to broadcast your internal states. Others will feel the change before they understand it. The pause creates pressure. Pressure creates perception of depth. Depth creates threat. You are not becoming emotionless. You are becoming selective. The difference is control. Protocol 4. The audit of comfort. Each week, identify one comfort you have allowed to become entitlement. A specific food. A specific entertainment. A specific convenience. Then remove it. Not forever, for 1 week. The following week, identify another. This protocol attacks comfort addiction, the silent erosion of your capacity for discomfort. Every dependency is a leash. Every entitlement is a vulnerability. By systematically auditing and removing, you expose how many leashes you wear. You begin to understand what controls you by observing what you resist losing. This is not asceticism for its own sake. It is the mapping and elimination of weakness points. Protocol 5. The practice of unpredictability. Once per week, break your own pattern deliberately. Train at a different hour. Take an unknown route. Respond where you would normally stay silent. Stay silent where you would normally respond. Introduce controlled randomness into your observable behavior. This protocol attacks your predictability, the very quality that makes you mappable and therefore manageable. Others build models of you based on your patterns. Controlled unpredictability corrupts those models. It introduces uncertainty into their calculations. Uncertainty generates vigilance. Vigilance is the precursor to fear. You are not becoming chaotic. Chaos signals weakness. You are becoming selectively unpredictable, stable enough to be credible, variable enough to be unsettling. Protocol 6. The containment of energy. You will speak less. Not as performance, as discipline. In conversations, reduce your word count by half. Eliminate filler language. Eliminate the compulsive need to fill silence. When you have nothing strategic to say, say nothing. This protocol attacks your verbal leakage. Every excess word dilutes presence. The contained man speaks with economy because he understands that words are force, and force spent carelessly is force unavailable when needed. Silence accumulates pressure. Pressure becomes presence. Others will feel compelled to fill the void you leave. Let them. Their filling is information. Your silence is strategy. Protocol 7. The evening execution. Each night, before sleep, conduct a cold review. Not journaling, execution. Ask only, where did I leak today? Where did I negotiate? Where did I seek witness? Identify the failures without emotion. No self-flagellation. That is the performer seeking drama from his mistakes. Simply observe. Note. Adjust. This protocol installs self-surveillance. The sovereign monitors his own architecture continuously. He identifies breaches not to punish but to seal. Over time, this review becomes automatic, a background process that catches leakage in real time rather than retrospect. 7 protocols. Not one is optional. Chapter 6. Kill what you were. You cannot renovate a condemned structure. This is where most men fail. They reach this point in their understanding, they grasp the mechanisms, they recognize the species, they study the ancients, they even attempt the protocols, and then they make the fatal error. They try to integrate. They try to add these new elements to their existing self. They attempt renovation when only demolition will serve. The self you have been is not a foundation. It is contamination. Every pattern you have developed, every identity you have constructed, every story you tell about who you are, these are not neutral. They are active agents working against your reconstruction. Your current self has investments, relationships built on your weakness, comfort secured through your predictability, status earned by your compliance. This self does not want to die. It will fight with every tool available: rationalization, delay, partial adoption, the negotiation of balance. Balance is the bargain the weak self offers when facing execution. There is no balance. There is only replacement. The man you have been must be treated as an enemy combatant, not a friend who made mistakes, not a younger self deserving compassion. An enemy, a saboteur who has occupied your life, made decisions against your interests, and installed weaknesses you are still discovering. You would not integrate an enemy. You would not seek balance with a saboteur. You would eliminate him completely and salt the ground where he stood. This is the psychological posture required. Identity death is not metaphor. It is operation. And like any operation, it requires specific incisions. First incision, the severance of narrative. You have a story about yourself. It explains your weaknesses, justifies your failures, contextualizes your mediocrity. Perhaps it involves your childhood, your circumstances, your traumas. This story feels true because you have repeated it until it fused with your sense of self. The story must be severed completely, not reframed, not healed, not integrated. Severed. You will no longer explain yourself through historical causation. The past is not relevant because the man who lived that past is being executed. His history dies with him. What emerges has no backstory, no justification, no explanatory framework that makes weakness understandable. This severance feels violent because it is. You are cutting connective tissue between your current self and the only identity you have known. The disorientation is part of the process. Embrace the vertigo. It means the cutting is working. Second incision, the burning of investments. Your current identity has made investments. Relationships where you play a specific role. Dynamics where your weakness serves a function. Social contracts where your predictability is the currency. These investments must burn. Not necessarily the relationships themselves, but your role within them. The friend who uses you as his audience will experience confusion when you no longer perform that function. The family member who depends on your compliance will experience disruption when compliance ends. The colleague who has mapped your patterns will find the map suddenly inaccurate. Let them experience this disruption. Their confusion is evidence of your transformation. Some will adapt. Some will resist. Some will attempt to pull you back into the old architecture. These attempts must be met with opacity and non-negotiation. You are not responsible for their adjustment. You are responsible for your reconstruction. Third incision. The execution of comfort identity. You have an identity built around what you enjoy, what you consume, what you prefer. This identity feels personal, chosen, authentically yours. It is a cage decorated to feel like home. The comfort identity must be executed. This does not mean permanent asceticism. It means the elimination of identity attachment to comfort. You may eventually reintroduce certain pleasures, but they will be choices, not needs. Preferences, not dependencies. The man who identifies as someone who needs his coffee or loves his weekends has built his selfhood on consumption. He has made himself controllable through his appetites. The sovereign has no such attachments. He may drink coffee. He may rest on weekends. But his identity is not located there. Remove them and he remains intact. This is the difference between use and dependency. Use is acceptable. Dependency is weakness wearing the mask of preference. The aftermath of execution. When these incisions are complete, you will experience emptiness. This emptiness terrifies most men. They interpret it as loss, as depression, as something gone wrong. They rush to fill the void with new identities, new stories, new attachments. Do not fill the void. The void is the construction site. It is the cleared ground where the sovereign will be built. Sit in the emptiness. Become familiar with the absence of the old self. Let the disorientation run its course without resistance. From this emptiness, the protocols take root differently. They are no longer additions to an existing structure. They become the structure itself. Identity and discipline merge because there is nothing else remaining. You become what you do because you have eliminated who you were. This is not self-improvement. This is replacement. Chapter 7. The sorting has already begun. You do not have time. This is not motivation. This is mathematics. The world is restructuring itself around a binary that most men refuse to see. Every system, economic, social, technological, is quietly sorting the population into two categories: those who can be managed and those who cannot. The sorting does not announce itself. There is no memo, no official declaration. It operates through 1,000 invisible mechanisms. Algorithms that map your patterns, institutions that reward compliance, social structures that punish deviation. You participate in this sorting every day without recognition. Every predictable behavior is logged. Every dependency is noted. Every weakness is cataloged. You are being profiled not by conspiracy, but by systems designed to identify the controllable. The controllable are useful. They consume predictably. They produce reliably. They respond to incentives and punishments with mathematical consistency. Their patterns make them manageable at scale. They are not enslaved through chains, they are enslaved through mapping. When your behavior can be predicted, your choices can be architected. When your weaknesses are known, your compliance can be purchased. The uncontrollable present a different profile. Their patterns resist mapping. Their dependencies are minimal. Their reactions cannot be reliably forecasted. Systems find them expensive to manage, difficult to predict, impossible to architect. They are not more talented or more intelligent. They are simply opaque. Their opacity makes manipulation inefficient. And what is inefficient to control is eventually left alone. This is the new sovereignty. Not legal, not political, psychological. You are being sorted right now, in this moment, by the patterns you have already established. The data exists. Your purchase history, your content consumption, your response patterns to stimuli, these have already been fed into systems that categorize you. The question is not whether you will be sorted. The question is which category receives you. The men who execute what this transmission contains will find themselves migrating toward opacity. Not through dramatic action, through the slow accumulation of unpredictability, non-dependency, and sealed psychology. The systems will find them increasingly expensive to model. The profiles will become unreliable. Eventually, the machinery of management will deprioritize them in favor of easier targets. This is not freedom in the traditional sense. It is something colder. It is the freedom of being too costly to control. The freedom of opacity. The freedom that comes not from rights granted but from architecture that resists mapping. The men who do not execute, who consume this transmission as entertainment, who agree intellectually but change nothing structurally, will continue their descent into the managed category. Their patterns will sharpen in the data. Their weaknesses will become more precisely known. Their lives will increasingly feel like corridors, the illusion of choice within architectures designed to funnel them toward predictable outcomes. There is no neutral position. Inaction is a choice that selects the managed category by default. The sorting continues whether you participate consciously or not. The only variable is whether you architect yourself for opacity or allow yourself to be architected for control. The ancients understood selection. Sparta did not coddle the weak, it exposed them on hillsides. Rome did not negotiate with the uncommitted, it conquered or discarded them. Nature does not pause for the hesitant, it selects against them through a million silent mechanisms. The modern sorting is no different. It is simply quieter, more distributed, operated through systems rather than swords. You feel it already. The vague sense that your choices are narrowing, that your options are being curated, that your life is being lived within parameters you did not consciously set. This feeling is accurate. The walls are not visible because they are made of data. The chains are not physical because they are made of dependency. What you do in the next 30 days will determine your trajectory. Not your intentions, your actions. Not your understanding, your installation of the protocols. The sorting does not grade on insight. It grades on pattern. You have received the architecture. Now the only question is whether you will build or be built upon.